Hey there, how y'all doing today? This is Data, back on trail finally, although not the Appalachian Trail. I just started into the Ice Age Trail and some segments that I'll talk about later, but I stumbled across this amazing fungus. Look at this thing, would you? I don't know what that's called, but that is a thing of beauty, isn't it? Here, for perspective on size, here's the end of one of my trekking poles. So that's how big this thing is growing on this tree. Yeah, it's just amazing. Oh, great to be back on trail. So, yeah, like I said, this is Data back on the trail. I'm hiking the Ice Age Trail. If you saw my previous video that I've been called for grand jury service, you'll know that I have to wait until after May 20th. And honestly, I think I was driving Mrs. Data a little crazy. So I've decided that I would come out and hike a 100-mile section of the Ice Age Trail up in Wisconsin. This trail's got a fair number of road walks on it, but still, the part of it that is a well-established actual trail like this, it's pretty nice. And I'm headed to a designated camping area today. So I drove up from the western suburb of Chicago this morning, got a shuttle ride from a trail angel, and just heard something in the woods. I don't know what that was, but got my attention. The Ice Age Trail is blazed with these yellow blazes. And this week, I'm going to hike a 100-mile section from Merrimac Ferry South Landing down to informational signs, down to a little town called Albany. I drove up there today and parked my truck at a campground called Sweet Minnehaha Campground, a little private campground just south of Albany, Wisconsin. And very nice people letting me park, and then I'll camp there on my last night and get to take a shower. So I'm entering the Stenbach Preserve, and actually here's a map of this part of the Ice Age Trail. The little square brown shape at the bottom that says DCA. That's the designated camping area, because along the Ice Age Trail you're supposed to camp in their designated areas only. Now, I've been told by a variety of different people, and have seen YouTube videos that show that some people camp, stealth camp along it in places, especially up north. But I'm hiking a section that's in kind of what they call the southern portion, really just west of Madison, Wisconsin. So it's a pretty populated area. The trail will go through a bunch of different small towns or even medium-sized cities. So there's not a lot of opportunity for stealth camping that I would be comfortable doing, although I think it's probably fine if you did some of it. So I'll be camping in the DCA's 6 of the 7 nights. I'll be staying at a campground the last night, and a private campground where the truck is parked. It's very well placed. And I have a hotel reserved for one of the nights in the middle so that I can shower and do some stuff like that. For the particulars, I'm carrying a 6-day food carry. I wouldn't necessarily need to, but I'm doing it to see what that's like. So I've lightened up my tent and sleeping bag and other stuff for a summertime setup. Adding the food back in, I'm still only probably 28 pounds with a 6-day food supply and 6 liters of water. I'm only carrying 6 liters today because the segment I'm hiking tomorrow has almost no water on it. So I want to be fully prepared for that. I won't have to carry that much the rest of the trip, folks tell me. So today I'm going to a DCA, which stands for Designated Camping Area. This is a place called Gibraltar Bluff or Rock or something. It's only a 1.1 mile from the ferry landing, and it's a climb, but it's only, I don't know, probably 300 feet up in a mile. But my whole day will be spent climbing straight up to the DCA, basically. As you can see, we have some pretty nice switchbacks installed. Stepping stone kind of style, pretty fancy. And I drove up this morning. Just took a couple hours to get up here from the western suburbs. And now that I'm up this high, when I pan back, you can see in the distance, that is what they call Lake Wisconsin, I think. And a bunch of nice little towns along it. Places to come, you know, hang out with your family and do summertime water sports stuff. In the wintertime, there are some snowmobile trails in the area, a lot of cross-country skiing. And of course, it's Wisconsin, so there's some hunting. And some folks even hike the Ice Age Trail in the wintertime. So I don't know if I'll do any wintertime hiking up here or not, but I'm thinking about it. So I think that's all for now. I'm going to hike for a little while, and I'll catch up again here in a bit. So I've come to the sign for my dispersed camping area already. And on the Ice Age Trail, this is how they're marked. There are some very specific rules for how to use a DCA. At all of them, I think, certainly at all the ones I'll be at this week, there are no campfires allowed. They're primitive campsites, so there is no privy. So you got to follow rules about digging a 6-inch plus deep cat hole. But the nice thing is they are really primitive camping areas. So you can camp, you can set up tent or wherever, hammock, anywhere within sight of the sign that's at the DCA that marks it as the designated camping site. And that's coming up here. I'll show you that. Online, folks have noted that this campsite is not very level at all. People have said there are a couple of more level spots, but I'll see if I can find those. And it's only about 2, but I knew I'd get here early tonight. Set it up. There is a register here. Let's see what's in it. Oh, that's kind of nice, actually. There's a logbook and toenail clippers, a pencil, a lighter, a lollipop, some Band-Aids, a pair of tweezers. No fires, big please written in that. So I will come back and maybe sign the logbook in a little while. And it's funny, they made it put a little roof on it and stuff. So, and there's actually a sign here that has the DCA rules on it that got burned at the ground. I think it looks like there was an actual fire come through here. So here are the dispersed camping rules. You can pause on that if you want to read them, but basically it's practicing leave no trace principles. And you can only stay here for one night and they can't be reserved and all that kind of good stuff. So, it's a pretty slopey campsite, but I do think I see one spot which is slightly flat, kind of right here. So I think I'm going to try to see if I can set up on that, unless I can find something within sight of that sign that is more level. I like that it's on dirt and pine needles, so I don't have to worry about waking up so much with moisture on the bottom of my tent in the morning. But it is a very sloped hillside, so I think this might be the one spot. If I was a hammocker, obviously these 2 big trees would make nice hammock spots, but so would those over there. But I'm not a hammocker, so looks like I will find a place to try to pitch a tent. So it's about 3:30, and it's gotten a little overcast. even though there's no prediction of rain, I went ahead because those are a little stormy looking, those clouds. Went ahead and preemptively dug my cat hole over there where the woods begin for use tonight or tomorrow morning, and I marked it with 3 sticks and dug it about 8 inches deep and 8 inches wide. After I had set up my Durston, which is here, this is pitched with 6 stakes. All I had to do was stake out the 2 vestibules. Oh, actually I have 8 because I staked out the 2 sides. It was a little hard to get it taut and square, only because the site is, like, I'm trying to show it level here, the site is really more like this. So the Durston is pitched a little bit downhill, looking right to left in this picture. And I may roll a little bit during the night. I don't know. A lot of other YouTubers have said that they did not get great night's sleep because of the lack of a level campsite here. But we'll see. It's about as close to level as I could get it. You can kind of see how this one end of the tent sagging a little bit right there. That's obviously partly because I have this vestibule open. But it's not a perfect pitch, but it'll certainly work. And then I have the door open. The tent is set up. I have my little floor mat, I call it, the little piece of garden polyester down, like 6mm poly from my landscaping projects. I haven't changed into camp clothes yet, but everything else is set up. So that's next, change into camp clothes, and then cold soak my dinner, and try to hit the hay a little bit early probably, so I can get a nice early start tomorrow, because I have a much longer day tomorrow than just the 1 mile hike today. So this is my first attempt at being sort of programmatic about how to organize the tent. I don't know if I'll end up this way, but in the end, at least for tonight, I put all my personal stuff in here: clothing, electronics, puffy, all that stuff is up by my head right there. And then down here by my feet, I have things like my toiletry kits and my first aid kit and my sundries bag and stuff like that. So, and then maps and stuff so I can look at them. So, I'm going to try that setup initially. Obviously, when I change into camp clothes, I'll be able to put the clothes I'm wearing down at the other end. She went up all right for the first time through. And I do look forward to filming the setup routine. I tried to do that a little bit this evening, and I just couldn't because it was a little bit too hard to pitch. I had to keep adjusting the corners because this site is sloped pretty actively. So I'll do that again tomorrow night. And again, this pitch will probably do for tonight. I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow morning. So this is Data getting ready to sign off from trail, even though it's only 3:30. I'm just going to change into camp clothes, cold soak my dinner, and then lay down and play around in the tent for a while and do some writing and some reading and some stuff like that. So from day 1 on the Ice Age Trail section hike, this is Data saying happy trails to each of you. So I got the Durston set up. I got both sides open now because when I went to change into camp clothes, it actually heated up a little bit on the inside. It's not really all that hot out tonight, but the Durston, even this X-Mid Pro 1 Dyneema version, holds in heat pretty well, which is good. It'll be good later on tonight. It's supposed to get down into the low 40s, but right now I've got both sides open. As you can see, you can look right through it. And I'm cold soaking my dinner. It's a ramen, and I put a packet of tuna in it. And I had some mixed nuts and raisins before, a little bit of trail mix. And then I journaled some just to track the day's events. That's something new I'm doing this time. I set up my Far Out app for tomorrow's hike. Tomorrow's 13 miles from where I am at Gibraltar Rock down to Lodi, through the town of Lodi, into the Lodi Marsh segment, and into the DCA at Lodi Marsh. 13 miles. There's water pretty consistently on the trail after I get to Lodi, but right now I'm carrying an extra couple of liters just so I have enough water to get through the morning. I'm going to try to capture the angle of this because I want to remember this. I think I will for when I see the people at in Cross Plains at the Ice Age Trail headquarters. But so that's about level. So you can see how this is about a 5-degree grade to this whole site. There's nothing level on it. And I hadn't thought of this before when I've heard other people say it, but this would be a really good place for some Ice Age crew in the future if they were ambitious. And who knows, I might even help with this someday, to build a couple of tent platforms. I don't think that the DCAs get used all that often, so you wouldn't have to build a lot of them. But if they had just, 2 square leveled out platforms, kind of about right where my tent is, and then there's a couple of other spots a little further away, like down in here, where you could stick a couple of them, it would certainly make it a lot easier to stop at this site and pitch a tent. So I'm making note of that so that I can mention that when I get to the Cross Plains headquarters of the Ice Age Trail Association. And for all I know, that's on their to-do list. It's definitely a trail that's being shaped by hikers and volunteers right now. So, to everybody in the hiking community watching this, if you want to kind of help volunteer and, help be a part of developing a trail, I'm sure that the Ice Age Trail needs all the volunteers and all the additional funds that it can get. They certainly have a lot of projects going on. My shuttle driver who brought me up here talked about that quite a bit. He does some volunteering with them. I got about 10 minutes till my food is cold soaked completely with the tuna in it, and I'm going to chomp on that and probably crawl into the tent and maybe do some more writing or listen to a book or something.